Hi, and welcome to 647, 6 stories for 7 a.m. because there's a famine of truth in our land. And this is your quick news fix, and the truth starts now. All right, take one. No Tapa-ist today. We're not fooling around because the ATF, the feds, have found the person who started the Palisades fire. Can you believe it? He's a 29-year-old Uber driver named Jonathan Rinderknecht. Kind of unshaven, kind of looks like a couch guy from Melbourne, Florida this time. The new furry scapegoat. This guy, take a look at him and then say, yep, with a big lighter, he started a 23,500 acre burn covering 36 square miles, taking the lives of 12 people, destroying 6,800 houses and over 1,000 structures damaged. And a furry with the lighter is the fall guy. You just got to get the F out of here. He did his part. That's what he did. At 12 minutes after midnight of the new year, wow, he started a fire with a Bic lighter. Then he immediately called 911. Then he hung around to watch the fire trucks come, and it became an 8-acre fire due to wind, and the fire department got control of it relatively quickly and put it out. But here's where you get fed stupid explanations because you can't handle the truth. You know what the fire did? It must be a Republican fire. It went underground and it moved at an incredible rate underground. And they didn't expect that to happen. And all that underground movement of the fire became the Palisades fire underground. Like, this is a rocky coast, the Palisades. There's like very little topsoil. It's such a lame, awful, stupid explanation. So they have to add layers to it, right? So it's not directed energy weapons. It was a guy who drives for Uber with a Bic lighter. I just want you to keep track of these intense investigating nuggets. Okay. So then the furry also had, by using AI, he created an image of a dystopian city that was on fire. That was on his social media. That's like a slam dunk. If you use AI to do that, nobody told you to do that. You're a fire starter. This is what you live for. And then on top of it, if that wasn't enough to push you over the edge, he's been listening to a French rap song about lighting all kinds of things on fire. So this guy, he's going to the big house. It's over for him. If only he would have jumped off a roof, it would have been complete. I'd be convinced. And then the ATF says, via our investigation, we've determined that the fire was started by an open flame. Because the guy says he has a Bic lighter and that's what he used, right? No, they determined it from investigative examination, science, follow the science. You walk to an 8-acre area that's all been burned to a crisp, and you can find the exact place where the lighter touched something. That is total BS. Total BS. These people are ridiculous. And they think we're stupid. Stupid's over. Stupid time is done. All right, take two. Polymarket. Not buying this story either. It's a narrative story. Are you ready? NYU dropout Shane Copeland, living in his Lower East Side apartment, no money, was selling all of his personal belongings just to make rent. It's like a Horatio Alger story. Then he started reading the works of an economist named Robin Hanson. And Robin Hanson writes about prediction markets, right? Ways that you can determine markets that have predictable outcomes. And then COVID came and he was locked down. And so he made an office in his bathroom and he came up with the Polymarket app. And he launched it in June of 2022. And yesterday, Intercontinental Exchange Incorporated, owners of the New York Stock Exchange, invested in Polymarket $2 billion at an evaluation of $8 billion. Shane is a dropout billionaire at 27. Youngest self-made billionaire, according to Bloomberg. With Polymarket, you can bet on the Federal Reserve, whether they're going to put rates up or down. You can bet on election outcomes. You can bet on sporting outcomes. You can bet on who's going to be the Time Magazine Person of the Year. Shane wasn't resting on his laurels. He raised $255 million before these folks go by ICE. It's too popular an acronym now. Intercontinental Exchange Incorporation. And there's some interesting things about that. The CEO of the Intercontinental Exchange, Inc., well, his wife is Kelly Loeffler, and she's the Secretary of Small Business in Trump's cabinet. And guess what else? Don Jr.'s an investor on this whole thing. I think some people have said, as long as we have to go through all this, we might as well end up unbelievably rich at the other end. All right, take 3. Red mass in D.C., almost explosive. All right, so the Cathedral of St. Matthew the Apostle holds a red mass once a year to honor the Supreme Court of the United States and to pray for the justices. But there's another guy. I don't know where these guys are coming from, but this one's 41 years old. His name is Louis Gary, and he hails from Arizona and New Jersey. And Louis was camped out on the steps of the church in a green tent, and he had 200 explosive devices with him. So Louis handed cops his 9-page manifesto when they came near the tent, and he held up one with another Bic lighter, that may be a big clue here, threatening to light the device. And so they backed off and waited, and they read the manifesto, and it turns out he hates the Catholic Church, he hates all Jews, he hates SCOTUS, he hates ICE, and he hates ICE facilities. So during this tense standoff, Louis went to relieve himself on a tree near the tent, and he was caught off guard and arrested. And then they found all of these viable 200 explosive devices in the tent. And so now Louis is being held with no bail. It's getting better, folks. Take 4. Comey pleads not guilty. I'm going to tell you, I was watching this on Bannon's War Room this morning because Bannon, he wanted to see this guy in manacles, being perp walked in front of the press, having to answer questions, being treated hostilely because he's a felon, accused of a felony. And everybody waited, and he didn't show because they snuck him in another way, and they snuck him out too. And Bannon was hot, and he got Navarro on there, and he was hot. And all these Republicans were so pissed because they got played. And Bannon had to walk up with cuffs on him and a hostile press basically howling that he was going to jail and going to a federal lockup. And it was not going to be easy. So Jim Too Tall Eagle Scout Comey was allowed to sneak in and out of the Virginia federal court without press exposure, a continuance of the deep state two-tiered system of justice. If that was you or me, we would have been nailed. We would have been fully embarrassed. Peter Navarro was grabbed at the airport in D.C. and put on the floor and searched, and both he and Bannon were stripped, every indignity that you could do. And Roger Stone had SWAT. They pull him out in his underwear. Other prominent Republicans pulled out of the house in their neighborhoods in their underwear, all to humiliate them. Not too tall. No, he doesn't suffer any of that. He's just indignant and aloof. And the two-tiered system is still working. And the Republicans still are getting rolled by this guy. And it's frustrating. So Comey is accused of a federal offense. The Republicans, who all were treated terribly, were being arrested for misdemeanors and were harshly dealt with. Comey is the picture of white lefty DC privilege. And if this was the top of the first inning with a Biden judge pitching and a DC jury catching, I think Trump is setting us up for outrage and a military takeover. Because the only other explanation is that he and everyone working with him is 100% inept. And I don't believe that. So I think, again, my theory is Americans aren't paying attention, and Trump is afraid they're going to get played by the legacy media. And so he is going to keep setting these opportunities up for the left to overreach and outrage the American public. Let's see. I don't know. That's a risky game, I think. Take 5. The University of California, San Francisco scrubbed its website of details on its provision of puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgical removals of healthy breasts and genitals for minors, following a query from then Fox News host Tucker Carlson's show, according to a massive production to Judicial Watch in a California Public Records Act lawsuit. The UC System's designated campus for health sciences and University of Southern California affiliated Children's Health Los Angeles also hid the fact that a 9-year-old was part of their blocker study through the National Institute of Health when they corrected a New York Times reporter who asked about an 8-year-old in the study. Oh, not to worry, it's not an 8-year-old. It's a 9-year-old. The evidence of obfuscation, misleading, threatening the media. One official suggested suing Carlson before he reported anything, is sprinkled throughout nearly 2,500 pages of 3-year-old internal conversations among so-called gender-affirming care leaders of UCSF, the University of California, San Francisco. So it suggests a pattern of withholding information that could cut taxpayers and the insurance spigot to the lucrative world of medicalized gender transitions for minors and set back gender ideology in U.S. medical institutions, which have resisted their European counterparts' dramatic pullback on medicalized pediatric transitions. Anyway, this was brought in front of SCOTUS, and I thought I had that story, and I don't see it. Anyway, this was all about a therapist in Colorado whose name was Katie, and she was being stopped legally from basically doing a talk therapy with young kids who were confused about gender. And she was having success with them. And these folks, no, they want the lucrative lifetime patient, right? Who has to go through extensive surgery, who has to have a continuous hormone therapy, and then for the rest of their life has to be on special medications and constantly coming in for checkups, right? It is a total crash and burn of a confused young person's life for the rest of their life. And SCOTUS heard the thing and said, this woman's not breaking any laws. You guys are just using lawfare to try to stop her from helping kids. So I apologize. I wrote out a page for this and it didn't make it into the studio. What can I say? All right, take 6. This is the ARMS Advanced Reprobate Mind Study, and the person is a prominent person. It's Katie Porter, and she is projected to possibly be the next governor of California. She's a candidate running for governor in California. And what do you think their plans are going to be out there? They definitely think Slick is either going to be president or vice president, and most of them think he will be the arm candy vice president for Sandy from the Bronx as the president. Imagine the fantasy life these people are having. And then they're going to hand the state of California over to Katie Porter, and you be the judge of how well prepared she is. A CBS reporter asked Katie in an interview what she would say to the 40% of California electorate that voted for Trump. Katie got mad, and then she began laughing hysterically like Kamala, and then she threatened to leave the interview, and then she said she had never had to do this before. So these are the Dem Golden Glove T-ball champs who are not ready for prime time. So Katie, bar the door, baby. You are not ready for this thing. But we're ready, although I can't really say that now because I didn't even bring all the things that I wrote up for this show. And so therefore, I'm not going to ask you to like or do anything until I can get my act together. So instead, I just want you to enjoy Glide Slope Thursday. You know what you have to do on Glide Slope Thursday. It's got nothing to do with me. You're going to take 1 notch of flaps. You want to just make a little pocket for that air under the wings. Then you push the yoke forward so the nose starts to dip down a little bit. And you're going to create that glide slope. It's going to take you all the way through Thursday, Friday, and all the way through the weekend. And just to give you a little more lift under your wings, I'm going to ask Jehovah God, the mighty creator of the universe, the omniscient God who knows all of the things that all of us are being faced with and the challenges, and ask him to open his arms and reach out and put a blessing over each and every one of us all the way through the weekend. So God bless you and have a great Thursday. Take care.
The mirror don't lie. If you want the truth, don't close your eyes.